Support for Swan Song is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you. This episode, Detective Conan is back in his second of 3 WonderSwan adventures, with Meitantei Conan, Nishi no Meitantei, Saidai no Kiki, or Detective Conan, the Great Detective of the West, The Greatest Crisis. It was released on July 27, 2000, developed by Tomcat System, and published by Bandai. The main plot in this Conan game revolves around the character Hattori Heiji, also known as the Great Detective of the West, hence the game's title. Heiji was introduced into the manga in April of 1996 as a rival character to Conan, though by the end of the calendar year's run of manga, they would be a pretty good team of detectives. Heiji receives a death threat in the mail and originally hand-waves it away as some sort of dark prank. But Conan doesn't buy it and thinks there's something more sinister going on. Eventually, those concerns are confirmed, and Conan is on the case. One of the more controversial points about how this game was originally received in Japan was how Heiji himself does not appear in the game until the final 2 story arcs of the game, leading a bunch of fans to be disappointed in how little he was around given his positioning as a focal character of the game. Aside from those unmet expectations though, contemporary reviews of the game were otherwise fairly positive about the rest of the story in the game. At a high level, this is a visual novel with mystery-solving elements, and mystery-solving is done through the same Maruba tool system that was in Meitantei Conan Majutsushi no Chosenjo. Each story chapter sets up a mystery to be solved, and as you click through dialogue with other characters, you will naturally accumulate key evidence. Key evidence is just a sentence someone says to you, which will be called out to you with an animation of a key going into your notebook. There is also a new hint system where certain phrases and keywords are saved into your notebook, and asking for a hint regarding that phrase will tell you something about that keyword and how it applies to the character you're actively conversing with. At any point, you can open up your notebook and read through the key evidence and hints, as well as bring up the Maruba tool deduction grid. On one axis, you'll have a list of items or people, and on the other, their properties. For example, the tutorial chapter had one deduction grid with one axis labeled with ingredients from a cake recipe, and the other axis had properties such as the order of the ingredients or their weight in grams. Each intersection of both axes is a cell in which you can put a circle, signifying that pairing of information is true, or a cross, signifying that that pairing is false. Each piece of key evidence will either explicitly contain information that directly confirms certain bits of information in the grid, or rules it out. Very quickly, you'll run into situations where individual pieces of key evidence and hints are insufficient to fill out the whole grid, so you'll need to zoom out and look at the big picture to make even deeper deductions to arrive at a solved mystery. Upon solving a mystery, you'll be treated to a short, conclusive cutscene and move on to the next chapter. Each story arc contains multiple chapters, and each chapter takes around 10 minutes to work through, which makes it a good game for bite-sized mystery-solving entertainment while on the go. There's nothing revolutionary here, but compared to Majutsushi no Chosenjo, you can definitely tell the incremental improvements made throughout the game. Both the user interface itself and text displayed throughout it is generally easier to read than it was in the prior title. Your game can be saved at any time instead of only between chapters, and since the notebook can be brought up at any time, you can remind yourself of the key knowledge you had gained during your last play session if it isn't at top of mind. If you aren't held back by the language barrier, I think this finally has enough meat on the bone to start being appealing to players who enjoy the investigation parts of the Ace Attorney series. I still found it a bit basic for my tastes, but it's definitely getting there over time.